Let's see that. So maybe, is everyone all right finding the seats? Yeah. Can do the putting up a hand thing if not. Anybody got a seat next to them for stillness? You put up your hand. Great. So one more. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the London Buddhist Centre. Especially welcome to any of you who've not been to the London Buddhist Centre before. If it's your first time here, welcome, especially welcome. Welcome all of you. So yes, it's Padmasambhava Day today. We've been celebrating a whole day of activities around Padmasambhava, this great archetypal guru, the pure guru, as Subhuti was calling him earlier, or absolute guru. And it really represents the kind of more grounded, direct kind of form of the Dharma, cutting through any sort of rationalism or any through of kind of getting too heady about what we're trying to do with our life, right to the heart of things. So we've been looking at that today. We've been looking at that through stories of his life, kind of mythic tellings of his life and how he lived. And then we've been looking at symbols in our own life and how symbols can represent challenge and overcoming challenge in our life. And we've heard a talk from Subhuti, our president, as well about Padmasambhava as the archetypal guru. And so now we come to, well, really the climax of Padmasambhava Day. What it's all sort of leading to is this puja, this ritual, kind of orientating ourselves to Padmasambhava and to the Buddhas, to these kind of forces that are much beyond our minds, basically, our kind of everyday minds. And in the context of this puja tonight, we'll have this very, very significant step, the Mitra Ceremonies. So we have 9 people in the centre of the room today who are going to be publicly in the sense that we're all here, stating that they are a Buddhist, that they want to practice Buddhism in the context of Triratna, which this centre is part of, the Triratna worldwide community, and they want to take the Buddhist precepts, ethical precepts, directly into their lives and live from them. So it's a very, very significant moment for these 9 people in front of us. So we're going to hear a bit more about that in a moment. But first, I want to just say a few thank yous for people who've been involved in the festival today, festival day today. So we've had a very, very full day of activities that I know some of you will have been part of. Many of you will be. Some of you have been here all day, and that's really only possible, just like everything at the London Buddhist Centre, because of the generosity of people who want to participate in this culture. It's not like a sort of, I don't know, if you go to, I don't know, the South Bank Centre or the Tate or something, and like everyone there is paid to do stuff, and they clock off at a certain time of the day. You're really kind of entering into very much something that is being built by a community at the London Buddhist Centre. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, for this beautiful shrine. We enhance the shrine every festival day that we have here, and this has been done. This beautiful Padmasambhava shrine has been made by Danny, Polly, and Rebecca. So I've been really, really enjoying looking at that all day, and I know many other people have as well. So yeah, thank you, Danny, Polly, and Rebecca. There's Polly. Can't quite see all of you anyway. I know you're there somewhere. And then so we had a whole team of volunteers. So we had Dan Sleet, who's somewhere. Again, he's at the desk. Okay, well, there he is. He's just working. He's really a star volunteer, Dan Sleet. Really real kind of star organizer as well. Kind of sent me this big color-coded thing of like, here's when everybody's availability is, and it was great. And then, a few of the names, hopefully I'll get everybody, but apologies if I missed anybody. Alex, Connor, Emma, Sylvia, Britta, Caroline, David, Alexis, Poppy, Stefan, and Mitra. Apologies if I've missed anybody. I think that's everybody that was kind of formally helping today. So they've been kind of putting out tea for people, they've been putting out mats for people, kind of magically making food appear and disappear. The after effects of food disappear. And that's all just been very, very smooth today. So myself and Surya Gupta, who've been leading this day, haven't really had to think about that at all. So that's been great. And then I'd just like to thank Subhuti, our president, for giving a whole series of talks this week as part of Padmasambhava Week, really kind of invoking Padmasambhava, bringing Padmasambhava into the centre for us, and for all that he does for the centre. He does so much. And then Surya Gupta for co-leading with me.
Thank you too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's been great to work with Surya Gupta on this festival day. And then lastly, just to thank the LBC team as well, who also work, I know, tirelessly. I live with some of them, so I know how hard the LBC admin team work at putting on events like this. There's all sorts of things that need to go on in the background, mostly on computers, that need to be done. So yeah, thank you to the LBC team. Great. So I'm going to hand over to Surya Gupta just now, but just before I do, I'll say what the kind of shape of the evening is. So we're going to hear from Surya Gupta, and then we're going to hear from the Mitra conveners, so these people who've been getting to know these Mitras to be, about each one of them. So we'll kind of be introduced to the people who are about to make this step, this commitment in their spiritual lives. And then we'll have by that point, you might want a loo break, so there will be a loo break. Then we'll have the puja, so I'll say a bit more about that after the break. So yeah, on to Surya Gupta to tell us a little bit more about the significance of becoming a Mitra.
So, well, firstly, a very warm welcome from me. It's delightful to see you all here and at home as well, if you're online. A special welcome if you are new to the centre as well, and if you're friends and families of the Mitras to be. It's always wonderful to welcome new people here. My name is Surya Gupta. I'm the chair of the London Buddhist Centre. So, I have the privilege to conduct the Mitra Ceremonies, which is a definite highlight for me of being chair here. And so we have, as Surya Naga said, sort of 9 people. I'll say your names now: Alex, Connor, Erica, Julia, Justin, Matt, Rainbow, Robert and Stefan, who are all becoming Mitras. So I'll say a bit about that in a moment, but just also wanted to lend my thanks for the day. I've been here since 9 o'clock this morning with Surya Naga and the team, and it started off wonderfully, with a team of saying how appreciative they were to help, to help put this day on. So to come in already with that gratitude for coming together was already very warming and a delight. And Surya Naga and I we didn't have a lot of time to plan this day, but it all worked, we sort of clicked and had a few laughs together, and I've really appreciated your energy and your sort of humour and your willingness to throw yourself in. So that's been great. Thank you. And of course, so all our team, all our volunteers, and then all those of you who've been coming in and out through the day. We've had a core of you here from the beginning of the day, which is great. And then also we sort of create an environment where people can then just come in, and it's already sort of a very vital atmosphere. It's just great to be here with you at this point. So, and of course, we've been celebrating Guru Padmasambhava all week, and we have been really fortunate to have our president at the centre. And there's been morning meditations as well, which Surya Naga has been doing. So the whole week of activity. And through that, we've been discovering, who Guru Padmasambhava is and the relevance for us now. And Subhuti really did invoke Padmasambhava really for us, through the week, and then we've been doing that today through all the stories that we've been sharing. And there's lots of themes that have come out of all of that. Subhuti particularly was talking about the fact that we can tame our demons, we can tame the parts of us that doesn't want to grow, the parts of us who go, I'm not sure about that, the parts of us that doubt, the parts of us that fear, the parts of us that just want to stay as we are, even though in the way we normally conceive life it's limited, and we sort of know that deep down. We know that there is more to life, and yet we're also very comfortable often with staying with what we know. And one of the things that Padmasambhava represents is breaking through that, freeing ourselves up from our sort of limited, sort of 2-3 dimensional way of experiencing the world, where we're actually and freeing our own potential up as well. And he does that by enabling us to face the parts of ourselves that don't want to grow, to face that and come into a relationship with it that is constructive, that is loving, but that also recognises that there is more, recognises that we can do something around those energies. We don't have to stay stuck. We don't have to stay limited. Those energies can be freed up and put in service of the Dharma. So we heard a lot about that, about those energies that are resistant suddenly being there for us, for the best of us. And through that, for the best of the world as well, because the more we grow, of course, the more we can be a light to others, the more we represent to others the possibility of change and transformation. So we were hearing about that this week. And then also today we were really exploring symbol as well. I mean, this shrine, Danny, Polly and Rebecca, really sort of, we walked in this morning and gasped, I gasped, and somebody else did as well. It was just taking in all this richness, all this colour, all the symbols that are on the shrine. So we did explore symbols. And of course, we all have symbols in our lives, don't we? Your car, if you drive a car, that can be a symbol for you. And it's we imbue things in our lives with symbol, but often we're not with significance. But we're often not conscious of what we're imbuing, of what they mean for us, often until they've gone. So what we're doing here is actually really being conscious of symbol, conscious of colour, the effect of colour, conscious of the fact that we can have something that represents where we want to move towards, represents what matters to us. So every time we see a symbol, it reminds us of what matters most. And so it helps reorientate us, particularly if we've gotten lost, strayed, as we do. We can be very forgetful about where we're going. So having a symbol, it sort of anchors us. It reminds us, this matters to me, and we can then come back to that. So that's one of the things we've been doing today, exploring a symbol. And then Subhuti, sort of spoke about the guru, Padmasambhava as the guru. But how, and there's only ever a few gurus, he was saying, but actually how for us, through connection, through communication, through friendship, we can be a light to others. And uplift others as we are uplifted as well by others. So he was able to explore the guru, the archetypal guru, the Buddha, the whole lineage, but also really bring it back to us, that we have the opportunity to be that too, to be a light. The more we realise, the more we understand, the more we can be a great friend, the best of friends, by drawing out the best in another. So it's been very rich. Padmasambhava, Guru Padmasambhava is a very, very rich archetypal Buddha, Bodhisattva. And I very much hope that you've taken something away from all the things that have happened today, and you'll be mulling it over. That's the thing about symbols and colour. We keep bringing it to mind, we keep mulling it over, and it one day just appears often when we're least expecting it as well. So it's a perfect day, I think, to become a Mitra, because Mitra means friend, and when you become a Mitra, you are saying that you are a Buddhist, and you want to do your best to discover what Buddhism is about, what is the path about. You're endeavouring to do that, and doing that in company with others, and you're really declaring that to the world, to yourself and to the world. And we represent, a bit of the world here. And the more, and when we do declare something, obviously then it becomes even more significant for us. So it's a great day to become a Mitra, because you have transformation right at the heart of this ceremony. The fact that whatever happens in your life, no matter what challenges you go through, there is always a possibility of change. There's always a possibility of transformation. And if you remember that will go a very, very long way. So I hope by having your ceremony this way, that will be there very, very strongly for you. And so yes, I'm delighted to be conducting this ceremony. Mitra means friend, and it's a friend to the Triratna Buddhist order. So those of us around the room who are wearing one of these cases, we're all ordained. We've committed our whole lives, even lifetimes, if you have that framework, to the path, and for the benefit of ourselves, but for all beings. So it's this huge project which we do it collectively together. And when you become a Mitra, you're saying, yes, I'm interested in that. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to help with this project of the London Buddhist Centre and Triratna. And that means very simply, just joining in, learning the Dharma, helping make tea, like many of you have been doing today, cleaning up, welcoming somebody else at the centre. There's loads of different ways that you can join into the community. When you become a Mitra, you're sort of seen as a sort of a Buddhist, a friend, and you can go anywhere in Triratna and sort of be sort of regarded in that way. So the ceremony is very simple in that when we come to that point in the puja, I will give our Mitras to be 3 traditional offerings. And, there's the candle. They'll each get a candle, and the candle represents the Buddha, the light of enlightenment that dispels ignorance. Then there'll be a flower. No, is it flower? Flower? Yes. No, incense. Flower. Flower next, which represents the Dharma, the teachings. And it's a flower because of flowers. We enjoy flowers. We enjoy their beauty, but then they fade. And that's one of the key teachings, impermanence. So it reminds us of the teaching of impermanence. And incense represents a sangha. The fact that when you come together, when you're inspired by the sangha, the enlightened beings, it's almost like the whole environment is perfumed. And that carries very far into the environment. So they'll have the 3 traditional offerings. And when they've all made their offerings, then we will give them the traditional well dones, and I'll tell us about that at that point. So enjoy the ceremony, and we'll be there, really just wishing them well, really sending them metta as they conduct the ceremony, as they go through the ceremony. Thank you. And I'm going to hand over now to our Mitra conveners. And just wanted to say, we have Diane Arthur and Amala Yodin who've been doing this for a while now. But we have 2 new Mitra conveners. So we have Kusla Sara and Gauravati. So yes, I just want to say, I'm delighted that you're here doing your first introductions.
Great, thank you very much for that, Surya Gupta. Thank you. Very, very good to see you all here today, and my great pleasure to introduce 3 of the men today who are becoming Mitras. So I'll start straight off, and I'll first begin with Connor. Where's Connor? Hi, Connor. So Connor was born in London and moved to Edinburgh at the age of 3. He attended Catholic schools where he developed more interest in football than religion, and still plays football today for a local club, Vicky Park FC. So he studied law at the University of Edinburgh and graduated in 2017. Since then, he's had many hats. He had briefly worked as an assistant researcher for a criminology professor at the university, and then decided to take a break from academia, working in hospitality for 2 years. Most recently, he says he's resigned from a 2-year stint as an insurance professional. Connor first came to the LBC in October to learn to meditate to deal with stress and anxiety. After doing the meditation challenge in January 2020, he started to notice a big difference in the way he felt and kept up his practice. He attended his first retreat in July, the men's intensive. As a first retreat, he felt this was a baptism of fire, but a powerful experience that solidified his belief in the Dharma. He has found in connecting with others in the sangha, he has found joy in connecting with others in the sangha, and looks forward to making more connections as a Mitra. So that's Connor, and Connor's in a Mitra study group with me as well. Very much enjoy our connection together. So congratulations, Connor. Yeah, thank you. And then Stefan, he might not say it in his introduction, but what's this, the third time lucky, Stefan? So he's here now, so if he makes a bolt for it before the offering, stop him. So Stefan is 30 years old and he's been coming to the centre since April 2020, initially online. He was drawn to come to the LBC in real life and soon started to volunteer on Friday nights. Stefan is a civil servant working for the Department of Health. At the same time, he started coming along to the centre. He volunteered to work on the coronavirus response. For him, this confluence was a personal foresights moment that inspired him to practice more regularly and deeply than he ever had. For Stefan, the path is not just about realising his own potential, but helping others and even humanity at large to do so. This is made very real and tangible by his vocation of public service. Even his love for Star Trek from a young age boils down to responding wholeheartedly to a greater vision of what each of us individually and we collectively are capable of. Seven has more and more come to realise that these passions aren't separate but really aspects of the same path. Particularly Subhuti's talks on the wheel-turning king and stories of the historical and mythical Buddha inspire him today to go for refuge, integrate these elements further and to practice the Dharma authentically, responding to the needs of people and planet. He's grateful to his community, Siddharma Pradipa, into which he moved last month, and his partner Paolo for supporting him on the path. So that's Steven. And then Robert. Hiya, Robert. So Robert is a retired journalist, translator and actor aged 73, living at Elephant and Castle. He spent his childhood in Cyprus, studied in the UK, worked for BBC Radio until he was 35, and then for 24 years in EU institutions in Luxembourg, Brussels and Warsaw. Coming back to London with his husband Paul, he trained and worked as an actor, pretending to be other people, but increasingly wanting to discover the truth about reality. A try at Buddhist meditation without a welcoming structure left him feeling adrift. That wasn't here, by the way, it was a Zen. A friend recommended Triratna, that's here, as a community in tune with modern life, which also encourages an artistic approach to perceiving the truth. Robert started coming to the LBC regularly for meditation and classes in September 2019 and then online. Coming back in person, including a retreat at Vidrasana, has opened his heart to spiritual friendship, and he's joined a study group. The truth of the Buddha's message, the energy of the teachers, the kindness of the sangha, and the changes these are making in him all make him want to commit to being a better Buddhist by becoming a Mitra and helping other people in whatever way he can. And Robert, I've also had the pleasure of Robert joining the Mitra study group, so really looking forward to deepening that. So that's Robert.
Great, thank you, Amayodin. Yeah, really nice to see everybody here in person for the first time after a long time. It's really just an honour to meet these guys in person as well and be their friends. I've really enjoyed getting to know them, particularly the two that I'm going to talk about. So Matt, first to give us a wave, Matt. Great. Matt says he's been searching for a deeper meaning in life since his mum passed away suddenly when he was only 19 years old. And he was convinced that there was more to life than the daily grind. But a few years ago, he ended up in hospital one evening after suffering a panic attack. And he realised he was suffering from anxiety. So interestingly, his doctor suggested taking up mindfulness, and he was prescribed not medication, but meditation and a mindfulness CD. And this began his journey with meditation, and a few years later he wanted more, and he found himself at the on the winter retreat at the LBC. And not really knowing anything about Buddhism or the LBC, he had no idea what to expect. But what he found on the retreat was an inner peace that convinced him that this was the path he wanted to pursue. And you really get a sense of Matt, actually, when you meet him, that inner peace is abound. He has this sort of courage about him that I really sort of appreciate. He's worked with this anxiety and sort of moving towards that. I can really tell that, so that's really good. And he said that a few months after the retreat, he just wanted to take his practice further and came on an LBC course. And the more time he spent at the centre, the more profound he found his outlook on life, and a more of a sense of positivity he found as well, which again is a quality you can see in Matt, a sort of friendliness, a positivity, and really, really good to talk to Matt. And he just finishes by saying he just has deep gratitude to everyone here in the LBC and can't wait for where exploring the Dharma will take him. And I can't wait either, so that's really good. So thanks, Matt. Congratulations. Okay, good. So, and finally, on the men's side, we've got Justin. So where's Justin? Give us a wave. There we go. So Justin's he has a passion for music, and you might see a picture of him out there. He's the one with the drum. Actually, Matt's a drummer as well, which is interesting. Both drummers. And he said that for most of his life, actually, music's allowed him to enter higher states of consciousness, where he can get very absorbed in the drumming, without really knowing what's going on. But he said the moments from music, they've been quite rare. Those moments, fleeting and difficult to evoke. So even though he knew they were there, he wanted a path that was more clear, and wanted sort of sense of how to get a bigger consciousness. So he ended up here. And since discovering the Dharma, he's realised that moments of pleasure can be experienced and encouraged not just in music, but throughout his whole experience. That sort of inspired him to sort of go deeper and find out more. And again, you get a sense with Justin that he's very much a man looking for something more, and with that comes a positivity and a friendliness, which I've really appreciated. Very interesting talk to you, so I've really enjoyed that. And like a lot of people, he started coming along on the online courses last year, and just wanted more, and he got that more, he says, from going on the men's intensive retreat, where he had this very powerful meditation experience, in a way bringing to mind a figure like Padmasambhava. In his mind, it was green Tara for him, and something happened. He felt very, very deeply moved, and he just wanted to dedicate himself more to Buddhism. And he's also excited to see what lies ahead. And again, me too. So that's Justin. Congratulations.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to Alex. So yeah, I've had the pleasure of meeting Alex a couple of times just in the last few weeks, and it's just been a delight actually to meet with you, Alex. Alex first came along in the lockdown break, and in their bio, Alex is saying that tried knitting and jigsaw puzzles, and then thought they'd try meditation. And when we've met up, we've talked a lot about the people that Alex has met here at the Buddhist Centre and the sense of community, and Alex has written about that in their bio. Just the impact that it's had, the welcome and feeling part of a community, and something that Alex hasn't had before, that sense of community, and it's kept Alex coming back. And it's really lovely going for a coffee with Alex, because already Alex says hello to loads and loads of people, I've noticed. You know lots of people around the centre already, so even though part of your participation's been online, you've made a lot of connections already. So you spoke about that in your bio, and you also say that Alex is saying that they've noticed that they sort of want what people here at the Buddhist Centre have. There's something that they've got that you want, and you really want to be part of this community. So you're very bright and engaged to speak to in conversation, and the Sangha jewel shines really brightly for you already. So I'm really, really pleased to be welcoming you to the Mitra Sangha. So that's Alex. And then I'm going to introduce you to Julia. So I've had the pleasure actually of living with Julia. Julia's been living in our community for the last 6 weeks, just temporarily, and it's been an absolute delight living with Julia. And we were joking the other day saying that I might introduce Julia saying that she loves chips and she loves dungarees. But I'm not going to say that. Julia's a relatively young woman, but she's very, very mature and intelligent. And she has a very demanding job, a very sort of, carries a lot of responsibility in her job, but she does it with a lightness and a real sense of positivity. And I've really noticed that about Julia, that in the face of adversity, you meet it with appreciation, actually, and you see it as an opportunity. And I'm being very impressed by living with Julia. And Julia says that she's been thinking about becoming a Mitra for a couple of years, and she really dived in. She was meditating on her own was it when you were 17, Julia? Yeah, 19, yeah. And then you thought Julia thought there must be more to meditation than sitting on her own with her headphones in her ears. So she booked on a week's retreat, which I thought was quite courageous, and went on a week's retreat and sort of hasn't really looked back. And Julia's been thinking about becoming a Mitra since that first week's retreat. So I'm really glad that you're becoming a Mitra this evening. And you write in your bio that you had this quiet sort of understanding, a feeling that something was right, and something sort of mysterious and something unknown. So becoming a Mitra tonight is an expression of that and just following that path. So I'm really delighted to be welcoming you to the Mitra Sangha tonight.
Yeah, so finally I'm going to introduce you to Erica and Rainbow. So we'll start off with Erica. So this is Erica's second attempt at becoming a Mitra, and I met Erica the other day and was really struck by the sort of faithfulness, fidelity to the idea of her becoming a Mitra. And Erica came across the LBC 4 years ago. In 2017, was suffering from depression and had been suggested to her that she learn some meditation. So I was really struck by Erica writing in her statement that she really felt immediately at home at the LBC. So that felt that's really lovely. She felt welcomed and at home, and has a vivid memory of stepping into this shrine room and being totally mesmerised by the statue of the Buddha. The beautiful flowers and the smell of the incense all around. And Erica says that the connection with the Sangha was immediate, and after a few weeks she booked on the urban retreat, and still saying to herself that she was just there to calm her mind and wasn't getting into any ritual. So sort of, let's just be careful with the religious side of things. But Erica says slowly read more Dharma, and by doing courses and reflecting upon meditations, she even noticed that she started to enjoy pujas, which is the ritual we're about to do, and it was at that point that she realised that she was a Buddhist. So for the first time, Erica felt what spirituality meant, and she says that becoming a Mitra is an affirmation of this intention to put the Dharma at the centre of her mandala, and this is the first step of this commitment. And I just wanted to add that something that Erica and Rainbow have both been doing is they both did a course online, and there's a little group of them who've just stayed in touch and to talk about the Dharma with one another, which is to keep that initiative going. It's not always easy and really striking. So that's Erica, and then on to Rainbow, who's over there. And so I've had a couple of conversations with the Rainbow about becoming a Mitra. Rainbow lives in Cambridge and works as a mental health practitioner in schools there. And she started coming along to the LBC about 10 years ago, but it's been very intermittent. And she says that looking back, she can see how the experience planted some seeds inside of her. And continued to be drawn to Buddhism and Triratna, but only engaged occasionally. Then in lockdown in a foreign country, she reconnected with the online teachings, and she says that by then she'd gained a new openness to the need for spiritual teachings and practice after a difficult couple of years, and has enjoyed several courses since then. And developed a reverence to the Dharma, which she says is beautiful, transformative and radical in nature. And she's found a friendly community with a rich tradition with which to explore. And I've just really enjoyed the conversations that I've had with Rainbow. We've been very thoughtful and very considered and interesting approach, things to think about in relation to meditation and practice. And Rainbow says she's very grateful to everybody at the LBC for supporting her to reach this point, and she's excited and open to see where this path leads. So that's all of the Mitras that are all of the people who are about to become Mitras this evening.
Great. Thank you to our 4 Mitra conveners, and thank you to Surya Gupta. So now you know what being a Mitra means. You have some idea of the significance of becoming a Mitra, and you have some idea of who it is who's going to be taking that step. So we'll have a little break now, and when we come back, we will, we'll see what happens. So it'll be a silent break. That means no talking. So you've got about 10 minutes. So if you want to go to the loo, go to the loo. If you don't need to leave the room for any reason, then don't leave the room. It's easier for bringing people back, basically. But feel free to stand just in the room in silence. So yes, so here we are. Ready for the puja. So I'll just talk through what we're going to do, and then we'll do it. It'll be a sevenfold puja, so there'll be 7 kind of main sections. Actually, before I go through the sections, maybe I'll just say something about engaging with puja. So, if you've never done a puja before, there's going to be kind of verses that I'll say, and everybody will say them back to me. Well, not to me really, to the Buddhas, to the Buddhas. And what we're trying to do here in puja is we're trying to orientate our mind. We're trying to kind of awaken our imagination, a different kind of mode of being. We're trying to enter into a very different mode of being when we do a puja. So we're not trying to sort of achieve anything. We're not trying to work anything out. We're just trying to enter into a different mode of being that is kind of beyond our, like I was saying before, beyond that kind of rational capacity for thought. And in that context, we'll have the Mitra Ceremonies. So we'll have this kind of act of commitment to the Buddhist path. And looking around the room, I know many of you became Mitras at some point. And you'll remember that as a kind of significant moment in your life. I certainly do. I certainly really remember my Mitra ceremony as being a very, very significant moment in my life. And so today we get to kind of take part in that for other people, whether or not it's the first time you've ever come to the London Buddhist Centre. Maybe you're here for a friend or family member, or you're very much part of the London Buddhist Centre. Whichever one it is, you're participating today in a very significant step in these 9 people's lives. So that's quite exciting and important as well. So let's bear that in mind whilst we do the puja. Sometimes it can be easy, especially if you've done lots of pujas before, to sort of go off on kind of automatic thought, can't it? Some people are nodding. But it's really, really important to just keep coming back to what you're actually saying, or what's going on in the puja. It can be a very, very sort of transcendental practice. It can be a very kind of different way of engaging with the mind if you let those words have the effect that they can have. And that goes for the mantra as well, of course. So there will be 7 main sections. After the first section, so the first section will be called worship. Right at the start, before we start, we're going to have a reading. So Robert's going to give us a reading from Sangha, the founder of our tradition. And it's going to be from one of his memoirs. And it's the episode in his life where he first sees an image of Padmasambhava. So he gives a bit of a description of the image of Padmasambhava. So we'll bring Padmasambhava into the room, especially as seen through Sangha eyes. And it's, as you'll hear, it's a very significant kind of episode in his life. He was later actually given the name Urgyen in front of the name Sangha, which is a translation of Udayana, the homeland of Padmasambhava. So Padmasambhava, a very, very significant figure in Sangha life, and so the whole life of our tradition. And that's, of course, the tradition that the Mitras are committing themselves to. So it all joins up. So that's how we'll start. Then we'll have the worship section. Then after the worship section, we'll have a mantra. And so Dayabhadra will lead us in a Padmasambhava mantra. And you might have noticed that there's a big drum in the middle of the room. So I'll just let you know that Justin will be playing, kind of accompanying the mantra with that drum. Which I think it will have a certain effect. During that mantra, you can make offerings. So you can get up and you can come and make offerings at the shrine. Or if you're watching at home, you can make offerings to your shrine at home, or just imagine making offerings, I suppose. And if you've not done that before, just copy other people if you want to. There's no kind of wrong way of doing it. Nobody's going to kind of, I'm not going to stop halfway through and be like, someone's doing it wrong. It's going to be fine. Just copy whatever people are doing. So that will be the mantra. So then there'll be a couple more sections. And then after the going for refuge section, we'll have the Mitra Ceremonies proper. And this is where I'll hand over to Surya Gupta, and Surya Gupta will one by one ask the Mitras to be, depending at which point of this is, and they will come up and make the 3 traditional offerings that Surya Gupta was talking about before. Then we'll have the Refuges and Precepts, which is a verse, a very, very traditional verse that goes right back to the time of the Buddha, and this is a verse that's chanted by all Buddhist traditions, all Buddhists all around the world, and it has been done throughout the ages. And so our new Mitras will be chanting the Refuges and Precepts for the first time as Mitras, and we'll all be joining them in that. And then we'll have after the entreaty and supplication. By the way, you don't need to remember all this, it's just kind of FYI in a way. But after the entreaty and supplication fold section, there will be, there won't be another reading. What there'll be is, I'm going to play a recording, a snippet of the talk that Subhuti, some of you will have heard Subhuti talk this afternoon. I rushed upstairs and got a snippet after he was talking, because that talk is a fantastic talk. He was talking about 42 years ago on Padmasambhava Day, Sangharachita talking about Padmasambhava in this very spot. And we'll hear a short snippet of that. The context of the snippet is that he's just been talking about kind of what the Buddha brings, why the Buddha is important, and Buddhist teachings, and what the Buddha taught, and then he starts talking about kind of what Padmasambhava is bringing to that. So we'll hear what Padmasambhava brings to that. Then we'll have the Heart Sutra in unison for those of you who know the Heart Sutra. Then the transference of merit, and then after the transference of merit, instead of the closing mantras, we're going to have another mantra led by Dayabhadra. Great. Okay. So you don't need to remember that. I do. So let's settle down for the puja. settling into our bodies. Just tuning in with ourselves. Preparing to enter into a very different mode of being. Start that by turning inwards. Just feeling the weight of our body. Our breath and our energies. We'll have a few moments of just sitting. And then when Robert's ready, he'll start the reading.
I'd never seen an image of Padmasambhava before, perhaps not even a painting. As I entered the temple, all the greater was the shock, therefore, when I saw in front of me 3 or 4 times larger than life, the mighty sedent figure of the semi-legendary founder and inspirer of Nyingma tradition. A skull cup in his left hand, a staff topped with skulls in the crook of his left arm, and the celebrated wrathful smile on his mustached face. All this I took in instantly, together with the lotus hat, the richly embroidered robes, and the much smaller flanking figures of his 2 consorts, one Tibetan and one Nepalese. Having taken it in, I felt that it had always been there, and that in seeing the figure of Padmasambhava, I'd become conscious of a spiritual presence that had in fact been with me all the time. Though I'd never seen the figure of Padmasambhava before, it was familiar to me in a way that no other figure on earth was familiar and fascinating. It was familiar as my own self, yet at the same time infinitely mysterious, infinitely wonderful, and infinitely inspiring. Familiar, mysterious, wonderful, and inspiring it was to remain. Indeed, from then on, the figure of the precious Guru Rinpoche, was to occupy a permanent place in my inner spiritual world. even as it played a prominent part in the spiritual life and imagination of the entire Himalayan region.
Sevenfold Puja. Firstly, worship. With Mandarava, blue lotus and jasmine.
With Mandarava, blue lotus and jasmine.
With all flowers pleasing and fragrant.
With all flowers pleasing and fragrant.
And with garlands skillfully woven.
And with garlands skillfully woven.
I pay honour to the princes of the sages.
I pay honour to the princes of the sages.
So worthy of veneration.
So worthy of veneration.
I envelop them in clouds of incense.
I envelop them in clouds of incense.
Sweet and penetrating.
Sweet and penetrating.
I make them offerings of food hard and soft.
I make them offerings of food hard and soft.
And pleasing kinds of liquids to drink.
And pleasing kinds of liquids to drink.
I offer them lamps encrusted with jewels.
I offer them lamps encrusted with jewels.
Festooned with golden lotus.
Festooned with golden lotus.
On the pavings sprinkled with perfume.
On the pavings sprinkled with perfume.
I scatter handfuls of beautiful flowers.
I scatter handfuls of beautiful flowers.
Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum.
Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om Ahum Vajraguru Padmasambhava Hum. Om
Vajraguru Padmasambhava Om. Om Ahom 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 Vajraguru Padmasambhava Om.
Om Vajraguru Padmasambhava. Om Vajraguru Padmasambhava. Om Vajraguru Padmasambhava. Om Vajraguru Padmasambhava. Om Vajraguru Padmasambhava.
Salutation. As many atoms as there are,
as many atoms as there are,
in the 1,000 million worlds,
in the 1,000 million worlds,
so many times I make reverent salutation.
So many times I make reverent salutation
to all the Buddhas of the three eras,
to all the Buddhas of the three eras,
to the Siddharma,
to the Siddharma,
and to the excellent community.
and to the excellent community.
I pay homage to all the shrines,
I pay homage to all the shrines,
and places in which the Bodhisattvas have been.
and places in which the Bodhisattvas have been.
I make profound obeisance to the teachers,
I make profound obeisance to the teachers,
and those to whom respectful salutation is due.
and those to whom respectful salutation is due.
Going for refuge. This very day,
This very day,
I go for my refuge,
I go for my refuge,
to the powerful protectors,
to the powerful protectors,
whose purpose is to guard the universe,
whose purpose is to guard the universe,
the mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere.
the mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere.
Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge.
Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge.
In the Dharma they have ascertained,
In the Dharma they have ascertained,
which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth.
which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth.
Likewise in the host of Bodhisattvas,
Likewise in the host of Bodhisattvas,
I take my refuge.
I take my refuge.
So we've now come to the part of the evening whereby our Mitras to be will make their offerings to the shrine and become Mitras, become friends of the Triratna Buddhist order, become Buddhists. So we have Alex, Connor, Erica, Julia, Justin, Matt, Rainbow, Robert and Stefan are about to take this step. And they'll offer the candle representing the Buddha, the flower representing the Dharma, and the incense representing the Sangha. And as they come up one by one to make their free traditional offerings, we sort of all wish them well, bear them in mind, wish them well on their the point of commitment and on their journey going forward. So to begin with, Alex. Connor. Erica. Julia. Justin. Matt. Rainbow. Robert. And Stefan. So we've just witnessed Alex, Connor, Erica, Julia, Justin, Matt, Rainbow, Robert and Stefan become Mitras. So on behalf of the London Buddhist Centre, on behalf of all the Triratna Buddhist centres in the world, I'd like to welcome you as Mitras, as Buddhists. You've declared yourselves Buddhists. Welcome you to our community. And you've joined hundreds of thousands of millions of people through the centuries who have made this step, have committed to exploring the Dharma, the Buddha Dharma Sangha, more and more for the benefit of yourselves and those around you. So well done. And we say this well done with a traditional way, 3 hearty sadhus, which says, well done, fantastic, brilliant, good luck with it all. And we say that all together. So 3 hearty sadhus to you, congratulations.
Sadhu! Sadhu! Sadhu!
So now the Mitras, for the first time, will do the Refuges and Precepts with everybody else in the room. You can call and response. Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Panatipata.
Panatipata.
Veramani.
Veramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Sammadhiyami.
Sammadhiyami.
Adinadana.
Adinadana.
Veramani.
Veramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Sammadhiyami.
Sammadhiyami.
Kamesu.
Kamesu.
Mitchachara Veramani Sikkhapadam Sammariyami Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadam Sammariyami Suramerya Maja Hammadatana Veramani Sikkhapadam Sammariyami Sadhu 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 with deeds of loving kindness.
With deeds of loving kindness,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With open-handed generosity.
With open-handed generosity,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With stillness, simplicity, and contentment.
With stillness, simplicity, and contentment,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With truthful communication.
With truthful communication,
I purify my speech.
I purify my speech.
With mindfulness clear and radiant.
With mindfulness clear and radiant,
I purify my mind.
I purify my mind.
Confession of faults. The evil that I have heaped up.
The evil that I have heaped up.
Through my ignorance and foolishness.
Through my ignorance and foolishness.
Evil in the world of everyday experience.
Evil in the world of everyday experience.
As well as evil in understanding and intelligence.
As well as evil in understanding and intelligence.
All that I acknowledge to the protectors.
All that I acknowledge to the protectors.
Standing before them.
Standing before them.
With hands raised in reverence.
With hands raised in reverence.
And terrified of suffering.
And terrified of suffering.
I pay salutations again and again.
I pay salutations again and again.
May the leaders receive this kindly.
May the leaders receive this kindly.
Just as it is with its many faults.
Just as it is with its many faults.
What is not good, O protectors?
What is not good, O protectors?
I shall not do again.
I shall not do again.
Rejoicing in merit. I rejoice with delight.
I rejoice with delight.
In the good done by all beings.
In the good done by all beings.
Through which they obtain rest.
Through which they obtain rest.
With the end of suffering.
With the end of suffering.
May those who have suffered be happy.
May those who have suffered be happy.
I rejoice in the release of beings.
I rejoice in the release of beings.
From the sufferings of the rounds of existence.
From the sufferings of the rounds of existence.
I rejoice in the nature of the Bodhisattva.
I rejoice in the nature of the Bodhisattva.
And the Buddha.
And the Buddha.
Who are protectors.
Who are protectors.
I rejoice in the arising of the will to enlightenment.
I rejoice in the arising of the will to enlightenment.
And the teaching.
And the teaching.
Those oceans that bring happiness to all beings.
Those oceans that bring happiness to all beings.
And are the abode of welfare of all beings.
And are the abode of welfare of all beings.
Entreaty and supplication. Saluting them with folded hands.
saluting them with folded hands.
I entreat the Buddhas in all the quarters.
I entreat the Buddhas in all the quarters.
May they make shine the lamp of the Dharma.
May they make shine the lamp of the Dharma.
For those wandering in the suffering of delusion.
For those wandering in the suffering of delusion.
With hands folded in reverence.
With hands folded in reverence.
I implore the conquerors desiring to enter Nirvana.
I implore the conquerors desiring to enter Nirvana.
May they remain here for endless ages.
May they remain here for endless ages.
So that life in this world does not grow dark.
So that life in this world does not grow dark.
And this is where the Guru comes in. It's as though he doesn't add anything, he doesn't teach anything different, doesn't have any additional teaching, but he is concerned more with the transformation of the depths. And this is why he figures as the subduer of the gods and demons. Now, who or what are these gods and demons? They're not just mythological figures. They're forces within the human mind itself. They're forces existing at a very deep level, not only within the individual mind. They exist, as it were, where the individual mind ends and the collective mind, the collective consciousness, the collective unconscious begins, but which at the same time influence and affect every individual conscious mind, especially until such time as it has attained a degree or a level of superconsciousness. So those forces, those primordial forces, those archetypal images, if you like, existing at these deeper levels, have also to be tackled if there is to be a thoroughgoing transformation of the spiritual life of humanity. So this is what Padmasambhava does. This is the prominent feature in the life of Padmasambhava. He tackles the gods and the demons, not just the gods and demons of Tibet, not just the gods and demons of India, but the gods and demons of the world, the gods and demons of the East, the gods and demons of the West. And in the West, we've got a lot of demons, which require quite a lot of tackling. And this is one of the reasons why we celebrate Padmasambhava Day in the West, because that is the sort of ideal, if you like, that is the sort of help that we need to invoke. It's not enough to scratch the rational surface of our minds. We have to penetrate to the depth. We have to drop, as it were, a sort of depth charge and blow up all those primordial forces which are sort of holding us down and holding us back.
The Heart Sutra. The Bodhisattva of Compassion, when he meditated deeply, saw the emptiness of all five skandhas and sundered the bonds that caused him suffering. Here then, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is only emptiness, emptiness only form. Feeling, thought and choice, consciousness itself, are the same as this. All things are by nature void. They are not born or destroyed, nor are they stained or pure, nor do they wax or wane. So, in emptiness, no form, no feeling, thought or choice, nor is there consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no colour, sound, smell, taste, touch, or what the mind takes hold of, nor even act of sensing, no ignorance or end of it, nor all that comes of ignorance, no withering, no death, no end of them. Nor is there pain or cause of pain, or cease in pain, or noble path to lead from pain. not even wisdom to attain. Attainment too is emptiness. So know that the Bodhisattva, holding to nothing whatever, but dwelling in prajna wisdom, is freed of delusive hindrance, rid of the fear bred by it, and reaches clearest nirvana. All Buddhas of past and present, Buddhas of future time, using this prajna wisdom, come to full and perfect vision. Hear then the great Dharani, the radiant peerless mantra, the prajna paramita, whose words allay all pain. Hear and believe its truth. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhiswaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhiswaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhiswaha. Transference of merit and self-surrender. May the merit gained, in my acting thus, go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. My personality throughout my existences. My possessions. And my merit in all three ways. I give up without regard to myself. For the benefit of all beings. Just as the earth and other elements are serviceable in many ways to the infinite number of beings, inhabiting limitless space, so may I become that which maintains all beings, situated throughout space, so long as all have not attained to peace.
Om Ahum Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum.
Om Ahum Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Concludes Puja. So those of us who haven't just become Mitras will now go next door. Those of you who have just become Mitras will stay just for a few minutes to take in the atmosphere, and we can wait outside to greet them. So let's leave this room in silence for the new Mitras to take in the atmosphere.